It went extremely well, in my opinion. That's my opinion, right? I just feel like I do most of my reflecting in May because once June comes, I am checked out and I'm ready to walk out the door. Walk out the door is what I was trying to say. Hi, hey, hello, how are you? Do you know what time it is? I will tell you what time it is. It is time for another Teddy Talks. ASMR video. Whoa, whoa. My name is Teddy. Hi, guys, and I'm talking in a sort of ASMR style. Style. Before I continue, I'm going to crack open a ice cold Coca-Cola. I might have to edit that a little bit. Okay. In this video, I will be discussing the pros and the cons of teaching during the month of May. As always, we will discuss some tidbits, just some things on a need-to-know basis, basically the intro of the video. Then we will talk about my day, we will talk about the week, and we will talk about the month. I am a little sad because this is almost the final installment of the series. At least where I am or where I live and where I work, we start school in August/September, and we typically end sometime in June. For this series going forward, we will have an episode or an installment for June. However, we're only here for a couple of days in June, so we'll see what happens. And then I do have plans for July and August, so we will see what happens. Once we get to August, that completes the whole series. I might do some follow-up episodes and talk about the pros and the cons of being a teacher and being a special ed teacher. But that would be kind of bonus installments, right? This series has been a lot of fun for me to go back and watch. It's almost like my little journal, my little rewind, I guess, of the school year. And I will not be doing this series again because I feel like it could get redundant. So I will have to figure out something else to do next year. So for this episode, I have everything written down because I honestly didn't think I would be filming today, but I had the opportunity to because certain people left, and typically if I start recording right when school ends, I can actually get through a video. However, I'm already annoyed because everybody was being loud in the hallway today, which is not usually the case. I would say students, teachers, and randoms were out there being loud, which is fine. I get it. It's a school. It's after school. But everything written down there. I'm going to go through some things I wanted to discuss. I talked about getting interrupted. I talked about this being the last installment where we're talking about the pros and the cons of a full month of school, even though we will still cover June, July, and August. So one thing I wanted to talk about was bowling, and this video will kind of be the end cap of me talking about that. Where we left off was I was on the news for the bowling team that I coach at school. I'm an assistant coach, and you could go watch my I'm Back video on my channel if you want to hear more about that. But basically, every single student that I coach on the team went to state, and that is very, very cool. So we had quite a few kids. I mean, all the kids, but that's a lot of kids. It's quite a few kids to be sending off to state, right, for any team or any category, I guess, right? So we had a send off at the school. That was really, really fun, and just for confidentiality reasons, I can't actually say how we did, but it went extremely well in my opinion. That's my opinion, right? It went really, really well. It was a long, long day, but essentially with bowling, glad I did it. I would do it again. This was my first year. Some things might change for next year, but we will just wait and see what happens. And the only other thing I have to say about the bowling season is, it was a lot of things to do, like every single week. Scores, merch, announcements, going to the qualifying rounds and state. But with it all being said and done, it was a good experience, even if it was really busy. I'm glad that I don't have to keep doing those things. I can take a break until next year. So the only other thing is we will have a little banquet, but I have everything done. So at this point, there's really nothing else I have to do other than go pick up food for the banquet. I ordered a cake that is technically a baby cake for someone's baby that's been born. That's the category of the cake. But I'm going to write a message on it and then turn it into a bowling cake. We make do around here. The other thing is chess is over. So I also have ran the school's chess club bowling. This was my first year coaching anything or doing a sport like that as a teacher, but with chess. I have been running our school's chess club for going on 5 years, which is crazy. And we had our final meeting. I know that I've talked about different things with chess throughout this series. Really no big updates because we have a chess league, but that ended a couple months ago. We don't really go to state because we're not a sport. We've talked about getting chess identified as a sport or competing with chess at our school, but at this time it's just not something that we offer. So yeah, really last week we had our final chess meeting, and that was it. So I'm kind of glad that bowling is wrapping up and there's less stuff for me to do and worry about every single week. I'm also glad that chess is wrapping up because it is the same thing. It is getting the boards ready and announcements and all these things. So in the same way that I've talked about bowling and I'm kind of done talking about it because it's over, I am done talking about chess. It was a great year. It was our biggest year yet, but it's over, so I don't really have anything else to say about maybe it's yet to come. I don't know at this point when I'm filming, but I will tell you about my birthday. I'm turning 30. I am going out with some friends on a party bus, hitting up some sights and some scenery around the cities, and I'm honestly super excited now that the planning is over. I can just enjoy my birthday and my birthday party. So that's another thing. Planning this birthday party was a lot of work, and I'm doing something kind of crazy and chaotic where I'm inviting friends, coworkers, and family. So there's just a lot of people involved, and I feel like it's going to be kind of messy, but bring it on. I am the maker of my own doing, and if I'm inviting all these people, just randomly throwing them together, I gotta be a little responsible for how the night turns out, right? I think everybody's gonna get along and chill, but at this point, you know, as much as I do, and I don't know anything yet. So no, I'll talk more about my birthday. Not everybody is going on the party bus. There's just a core group of us that will be on it, and then everybody else can follow along if they want to, or they can go home when they want. They can pop out and then go home if they so wish. So, yeah. I'm glad that chess and bowling is over, because I was also getting really tired of planning my birthday at the same time. But now that the birthday is planned and chess and bowling are over, I'm just getting really excited for my birthday. I'm gonna hop into my next point too. I will update you about my birthday, which is in May. It is smack dab in the middle of May. So I'm not sure when you're seeing this video, but my birthday is literally the middle of May. Which is kind of perfect, honestly. As far as growing up, I felt like my birthday didn't get overlooked, and I don't know too many people with May birthdays, so I always kind of liked having my birthday in May, because it was right before school got out, and I could still plan stuff with friends, and everybody remembered my birthday. I always thought it would suck to have a summer birthday and then not be with your friends at school on your birthday, right? And now as a teacher, I get to hang out with my people on my birthday, but not this year because I'm taking the day off. More on that later. Okay, back to the point. So this kind of goes into my channel update. I've already updated. Okay, so I promise not to harp on this for too much longer, but I will be posting on Tuesdays and Thursdays going forward. I will also only be posting shorts when I want to. So far it's worked out. I feel like my break from YouTube was great. Not just for the channel and channel's sake, but for me too. And I'm back, and I will be posting well into my 1-year channel anniversary, and then we will reassess kind of what we want to do, what I want to do. But I really appreciate people reaching out and commenting and stuff. I've been slowing down my commenting just to make sure I'm not doing anything too crazy. So if I haven't responded to your comments, or it takes me days to, I'm sorry, but that's kind of just working for me right now. I was slowing down my commenting. At first it was because of things happening on the channel. Now it's just because I'm actually really busy and I can't allow myself to check comments at work because then I forget to respond to them. So I think we're going to implement a new rule in my head, a new rule that I can't check my notifications until I go home, because that's not fair to you if I'm forgetting to respond, and I want to respond because you guys are awesome. With that being said, I think we have some pros and some cons to get into. Let's get into it. Oh wait, I almost forgot to talk about the day, the week, and the month. You know, how we do. So, my day, it's been fine. I'm filming this on a Monday. It is the week of my birthday, and quiet Monday. far as the month, as far as the month of May, we are about halfway through. Ironically, my birthday is halfway through the month of May too, but I don't know, things are going fine. It's really nice out. I feel like people are in a good mood. You know, as we get to the end of the school year, people generally, ease up a little bit because the end is in sight. And yeah, I think the one weird thing about this year versus other school years is that graduation is not, at the end of May or like the first day of June. Our graduation got pushed a week later than usual almost. And instead of being on the Thursday, it will be on a Friday. And so like everything is just kind of off. So like the end of the year feels kind of off. Instead of ending the school year the first week of June, this will be the first time in all my years of teaching that we are ending the second week. So normally in May, I'm like, oh, we just have to get through May, and then I have like 4 days, and then I'm done. But this time around, I have to remember that we still have 2 weeks in June, so my timing is just off. Like normally, once we get to May, I'm thinking the end is right down the line, like the end is right there. So this year, that's a little different. That's the only thing that's really standing out in my head right now. Yeah, let's get into the pros of teaching during the month of May. So the first pro is that May is your last full month. So no matter what, when you wake up, if you want to go to work, if you don't want to go to work, you can always remind yourself, hey, this is the last full month. When June gets here, we have a couple days and we're out, right? That's the first pro right there. The second pro is a little personal to me, and I've already talked about it, so I will just say it and I will move on. But for me, personally, May is a pro because of my birthday. But what I want to say is, any month that a teacher has a birthday, it's really fun to plan the day or the week around your birthday. I've given students presents on my birthday before, or I've played like a birthday bingo just for fun. Like, there's not really any rhyme or reason other than I want students to feel the fun, have fun. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to give them presents and have them play games, but it's just kind of a bonding experience, and they will definitely remember your birthday if you do those things with them on your birthday. I am shocked when anybody remembers my birthday, and I think because I try to make my birthday a group activity where it's just a fun day, I think students remember. The next the next pro of teaching during the month of May is the warm weather. Kind of talked about this in April, talked about taking your class outside. I feel like that starts in April on certain days that are really, really nice. But what I love about May and teaching during the month of May is very satisfying to get to the end of the school year and get to the end and see the end in sight. And really, April into May is like standardized testing season. Once you get to June, and the end of May into June, the standardized testing is wrapping up, and as well as other things are wrapping up. And for me, because I do or teach a high school special ed reading class, part of the reading is reading stuff for finals for other classes and really just helping students pass their finals. So I wrap up even earlier so that students can work on passing my class, and then that kind of leads to, hey, we got to June, right? We wrapped up my class in May. Let's take a look at passing your finals and your final exams and etc., right? But really, I just wanted to include that as a pro because you are fighting so much throughout the school year to survive, to build relationships, to teach, and to have students learn anything, something, right? So to see, you know what, like maybe what is going on? Anyway, what I was trying to say is you get to the end of the year and you see the fruits of your labor, if there are any, and you think to yourself, maybe I did actually do something this year, and maybe I actually made a little bit of a difference. That's always really cool to see. I feel like that is a huge pro, and it is just nice to have the end cap of the year and to start wrapping everything up as May concludes, as May comes to an end. Our last pro, before hopping into the cons, is that there are so many fun end of year events, and I could spend a while talking about what those are, but I think I'm going to do a special side video just talking about all the things that are at the end of the year, the things I have to do, the events I attend. So I'm not going to get into the specifics, but in general, I mentioned this in a different video at the start of the year in like September or October, that everyone is really social at the start of the year. Things get busy during the middle, you don't see anybody, and then right at the end of the year, things get busy because people are ready to be social again and people are in a better mood, right? So May is always really fun, and that's also why I really like having my birthday in May, because usually people are down to like go to your birthday, go out, like do stuff, right? And that is nice, especially after the winter where you don't really see people often. So those end of the year events are really, really fun, whether it's like a sporting thing or it's a little hangout or some other event. The next pro that is probably a little bit obvious and kind of ties into the last one is that everyone is in a better mood. Why is everyone in a better mood? Because it's almost the end of the year and the finish line is in sight. Let's get into the cons. Which one is which? I don't know. Let's get into the cons, or the kind of bad things about teaching during the month of May. I mentioned graduation, but graduation is kind of a con only because it stresses so many people out, and you usually have to have a lot of meetings and meet a lot of requirements. And for me, this is a senior heavy year, so graduation is like always on my mind, always on my brain, thinking about like, are they going to graduate, constantly checking attendance it's those kids in the middle where they're constantly going back and forth. Like, make a decision. If you want to graduate, graduate. If not, then don't, I guess. It would be hard to not graduate. You almost have to try to not graduate. But, yeah, it just puts a lot of stress on the teachers too. You know, teachers want to uphold their class and their standards. And then as a special ed case manager, you know, I'm a teacher and a case manager. I have to advocate for students, and sometimes, you know, looking at the accommodations, modifications, you know, and kind of looking at and analyzing should they pass the class, even if they were not on the same level as their peers because of their disability, right? I have to sometimes advocate for the teacher and, you know, tell the parents of the student, like, if you weren't really doing any work, I can't really advocate on that. Sometimes it's the opposite, where I feel like maybe the teacher could have done more to accommodate the student, and I have to advocate for the parent and the student, right? So it's always something. Graduation season is busy, and the way my school does it, we have these meetings leading up to graduation, and there's like one final date, and then after that, everyone's graduating or they aren't. It's like we have one final date, and then we know. So after that day, I'm completely, no matter what happens, I am stress-free because I know what is going on. But in May, when the meetings start, up until that date, I am a little stressed. So that is a con of teaching during the month of May. The next con, I think I have two written down. That could be one. Okay. Or wait, two. Wait. I don't know. So everything moves really fast, and everything is super busy. So on top of the socialization of everything and people wanting to hang out, on top of graduation, I just feel like all these random end of the year things that we have to do as teachers, they all come up. Some of these things are really not that stressful, but it's just a lot of like busy work or whatever that can turn into, sorry, my hair, that can turn into just an avalanche of work. And sometimes it's hard to differentiate what is important and what needs to get done right now and what can wait. Sorry if that was not relaxing. Anyway, the next con is actually our last con of the video. Your teacher goal is due in May. Now, if you don't know what a teacher goal is, I'm sure that it's called something depending on the state. Essentially, our school district gives us extra money if we set a goal for ourselves and we meet the goal. It's a good thing. It's extra money. Love that. I will do whatever for that, right? Well, up to a certain point. Don't take that the wrong way. But it's always a little iffy because, you know, you have to track data for like a whole school year on something related to your subject, and I do something like stupid dumb because if you set it too high, it's really hard to change, and you're really not supposed to edit it after you've set the goal. I actually just finished my teacher goal today, and I had to edit it a little bit just because things in the reading program that I use, it's an online reading program, some of the measurements had changed, so it wasn't reliable anymore, and I had to slightly edit my goal. And it's really hard to like edit your goal without looking like you're just changing everything. It can get really confusing, and that's my main thing is every year, I've learned this, but every year I need to make my goal more and more and more simple. The more simple, the better. And I thought I had a simple goal, but now looking back, I still think I made it too complicated. And it's just extra stress. Like, do I want the money? Yeah. Right, I want the money. But if you're a teacher and you have to do something similar. But on that note, on that door slam, I think I'm going to move on to our both category. So that is all the cons of teaching during the month of May. Alright, we are on the last category. We are talking about things that are pros and cons, that are bad and good, because we always think about the yin and the yang. There's a little good in the bad and a little bad in the good, right? I just have one for the month of May. I'm sure I'm going to edit this and then think of more things I could say, but I also like the fact that I did this video off the cuff. The thing for this category, the one thing is, the school year is going to end, and if it was a good year, you are going to be sad that it's over because you probably want to stay with your kids and your classes. However, if it was a bad year, you probably want it to end ASAP. ASAP Rocky, right? So, I'm going to talk more about this concept in my final end of year wrap up. I do plan on going somewhere and just sitting down and talking about what I've learned from last year to this year, because I've learned a lot. These last 2 years of teaching, I think I've learned the most I've ever learned in my entire life, and definitely in my time as an educator, right? This was a lesson that I learned last year. I mean, I knew this already, but you have to live in the present and just accept things as they are, right? If things are good, enjoy it for what it is, but it is not going to be forever. If things are bad, they're not bad forever. You know, you just have to do what you gotta do and survive, fight, etc. to, make it another day and or not hate yourself and or your job and your profession. I'll give you a little insight into my years of teaching. I do realize that I have to still do my one concept from forever ago that I said I was going to do, my years of teaching as seasons of a TV show. I will do that eventually, maybe this summer. Okay, I know I fell off the wagon a little bit. I fell off the wagon with that idea a little bit. But last year was kind of a rough year for me. I kind of made it rough on myself, and I'll get more into that at a different time. But that was a year that I wanted to end really badly. I just wanted something else. And then this year came along, and I could not have asked for a better year of learning and growth. This is the good year that I don't want to end, and I'm so happy that I get to tell you that, and I get to say that out loud and actually believe it, and I'm not lying to you about that. This year has been really, 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 really good to me, and part of that is because of this channel. But we will come back to that. We will come back to that point at another time. But any teacher will tell you, I mean maybe, but most teachers would tell you that, if the year is good, enjoy it. If the year is bad, survive it, and then think about what worked and what went well this year, and what did not work and what went bad. Take the good things, leave the bad, and keep it pushing to June. I just feel like I do most of my reflecting in May, because once June comes, I am checked out and I'm ready to walk out the door. Walk out the door is what I was trying to say. So much for joining me in today or tonight's video, depending on when you're watching this. I have not filmed here for a hot second. I did not get interrupted, even though I thought we might. But it feels really good to be back. back in this space. I definitely feel comfortable here, and I feel like most in my like teacher mindset when I'm at my desk with my very liminal, very basic, very clean background. Although I do really like my videos at home too, but this is just different when I'm talking about school because I'm at school, right? And I actually like where I work, and I don't hate it. I like being here, you know. I like my little classroom and my little space. I've definitely made it my own. It's very clean. It's not doing too much. It's not oversaturated. It's just fresh, is what I would say. It's a very fresh, free feeling and vibe over this way. If you couldn't tell, the Coca-Cola has hit my system. But, yeah, guys, I think that this video was going to be hard for me to film no matter what, because I love this series. I absolutely love the series, and I have so many other ideas that I'm ready to execute. I probably say that every single video, or every other.